The great French mathematician Blaise Pascal reckoned that however long the odds against God's existence might be, there is an even larger asymmetry in the penalty for guessing wrong. You'd better believe in God, because if you are right, you stand to gain eternal bliss, and if you are wrong, it won't make any difference anyway. On the other hand, if you don't believe in God and you turn out to be wrong, you get eternal damnation, whereas if you are right, it makes no difference. On the face of it, the decision is a no-brainer. Believe in God.
There is something distinctly odd about the argument, however. Believing is not something you can decide to do as a matter of policy. At least it's not something I can decide to do as an act of will. I can decide to go to church, and I can decide to recite the Nicene Creed, and I can decide to swear on a stack of Bibles that I believe every word inside them. But none of that can make me actually believe it if I don't. Pascal's wager could only ever be an argument for feigning belief in God. And the God that you claim to believe in had better not be of the omniscient kind, or he'd see through the deception. The ludicrous idea that believing is something you can decide to do is deliciously mocked by Douglas Adams in Dirk Gently's Holistic Detective Agency, where we meet the robotic electric monk, a labor-saving device that you buy to do your believing for you. The deluxe model is advertised as capable of believing things they wouldn't believe in Salt Lake City.
But why, in any case, do we so readily accept the idea that the one thing you must do if you want to please God is believe in him? What's so special about believing? Isn't it just as likely that God would reward kindness or generosity or humility or sincerity?
If God does exist and you do meet him in the life to come, if there is such a thing, and he asks you, why didn't you believe in me, what would you say to him?
Suppose when you get to heaven, it turns out not to be God, but Baal, or Mithras, or Zeus, and he says, why did you believe in that dreadful Yahweh instead of believing in me, Baal? In any case, why would you suppose that God values belief above maybe, I would say, well, I didn't believe in you, God, but I was a good man. I was honest. I was kind. Isn't that more important than belief? What's so special about belief?
The sooner that people understand that just as it's natural to someone to have faith, it's just as natural to someone to not have faith. And for those two entities to just let each other be, you know, that would be a really great time, I think, in the world. But it's not, it doesn't seem to be happening right now, so.
I wish there was a God. I wish there was. It would be great. What I've heard, he's brilliant, you know. But you can't believe in something you don't.
At the age of about 9, I realized that there was more than one religion and that people all over the world think different things, and it was an accident that I happened to be being brought up Anglican. I realized that if I'd been brought up in a Muslim country, I'd be Muslim. If I'd been brought up in a Hindu country, I'd be Hindu. And so it seemed to be a pure accident that I was Christian, as I thought.
My cognitive faculties do not allow me to choose what I am and am not convinced is true about reality. That my disbelief is an involuntary reaction to what I perceived as a deficit of evidence for God's existence.
Basically, I could be wrong. It's entirely possible. I would say, God, you gave me a brain to think. You gave me a brain that doubts. You made the evidence rather, questionable, so I questioned. And besides, what difference does it make whether I believe or not? Isn't it more important how you comport yourself in life and how you treat other people? I'd rather be judged by how I treat other people than whether or not I believed in God.
And I'm not the first person to notice that it's a very strange sort of loving God who would make salvation depend on believing in him on bad evidence. Okay, I mean, if you lived 2,000 years ago, there was evidence galore. I mean, he was just performing miracles, but apparently he got tired of being so helpful.
And I'd urge you to look at those of you who tell you, those people who tell you at your age that you're dead till you believe as they do. What a terrible thing to be telling to children.
I haven't got much to say. I just wanted to talk about belief in God, and I've had a hard time doing it. And it's just really hard to do this. Just to believe in God is really hard because you don't see him, you don't really know him much. Sometimes I don't even believe what the Bible says. It makes me a faker. It makes me feel guilty and bad because God has always talked to me about that, and I kind of rejected him.
That whole Jesus thing, it's really interesting, isn't it?
It's not interesting. It's scary. It's nailing holes through your hands. It's because we're all vile sinners. God made Jesus die.
You really think that's true?
It's in the Bible, Leslie.
You have to believe it, and you hate it. I don't have to believe it, and I think it's beautiful.
You gotta believe the Bible, Leslie.
Why?
Because if you don't believe in the Bible, God will damn you to hell when you die.
Wow, Maybelle. Where'd you hear that?
That's right, huh, Jess? God damns you to hell if you don't believe in the Bible.
I think so.
Well, I don't think so.